Michelle Obama is literally going down for the third time into this pool of self-involvement, and you don't think she's going to come up again. Like, she's dying of affluence, privilege, and self-obsession, obviously.
Everything she says is negative. We've been watching clips from her podcast over the past couple of weeks. Everything she says is negative. I mean, you would never know you are hearing from a woman who is first lady for 8 years, has become probably a billionaire by this point, is out on David Geffen's yacht every other summer, her estate in Martha's Vineyard, her daughters who went to these Tony schools. You would think you were listening to somebody basically like the wife of a George Floyd. And she's never gotten over whatever grievance she had growing up. I love how the soundbite begins. Okay, it's not the fear for myself. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. Unbelievable, right? Who talks about themselves that way?
Yes, there is nothing better than listening to Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson destroying their egoistically maniac Michelle Obama. I don't know if you've seen this. I posted a similar video a few hours ago, but I didn't want to put the complete video. I'm going to show you what exactly actually happened here. Michelle recently is entering into politics gradually. She said something that triggered a lot of people on social media during this podcast. I don't really like hypocrisy.
Somebody has to say it, so let me be crystal clear. Barack Obama is not the president of the United States. He does not have the authority to speak on behalf of our country, and he does not represent our people. And he definitely does not have the right to hold foreign meetings as if he's sitting in the Oval Office. For 8 long years, we watched him put America last. Then his policies continued destroying America under Biden for another 4 years. Biden, a puppet for everything Obama left behind. And now he thinks he can go globe-trotting, sitting at NATO tables, making promises to foreign nations. Excuse me, sir, no. We have one president at a time, and as of right now, that's President Donald J. Trump. If Obama is not smart enough to try to conduct foreign policy without the authority of the White House, he's not just breaking the law, he is violating the trust of every single American citizen who expect the election to mean something. The Hatch Act is clear, the Constitution is clear. And to Obama and everybody else who's trying to operate a shadow presidency, consider President Donald J. Trump's words your warning. You don't get to speak for us, and you don't get to act like you're in charge. America is taking its voice back. We don't need you. We don't need your failed policies or your backdoor diplomacy. Sit down, stay out, and remember, you had your shot, and you didn't do a good job.
Yes, that is just to show you the minds of people toward Obama.
Valedictorian, straight-A student,
Michelle Obama says Trump deportation policies keep her up at night, despite the fact that her husband deported more people than any other president. Remarkable. President Barack Obama deported a whopping 3 million illegal immigrants, demolishing the competition. There is so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance. I worry for people of color all over this country. I don't know that we will have the advocate to protect everybody, and that frightened me. It keeps me up at night.
She went on this guy Jay Shetty's podcast, and he asked her something about her greatest fear as of late, and here's what she said.
This current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. So it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't, and we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process, and, that it's being made like this cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12. You don't look like somebody that belongs. I can determine just by looking at you that you're a good person or you're not a good person. And knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance that fuels those kind of choices, I worry for people of color all over this country. And I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody. And that that frightens me. It keeps me up at night. How do you feel comfortable going to work, going to school, when you know that there could be people out here judging you and who could upend your life in a second? That's who I worry for right now.
There's so much in there, Tucker. I'll let you take a swing at it first.
Well, I mean, my first response is it feels so antique. It feels so 2017. It's like literally nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. All of those talking points, people of color under attack. No, they're not. They're coming here by the millions because this is the safest country for everybody, no matter what your color is, or it was in any case. So like that's just so old-fashioned. I mean, it's really like you expect her to say, let me fax you my thoughts on this. Because it's just like she's so out of it. The second thing is that like we always beat up on, rich white ladies because they're the most disruptive force in America. But that's unfair. It's not about color. There's something about the people with the most in our country that's really poisonous. They're the unhappiest. They're the most restless. They're the most self-involved. They're the least generous. They're the most annoying. And it's not just a gender thing. It's men too. But there's something about America at this moment where the unhappiest people are also the most privileged. And I think it does tell you something deep about accumulating money or worshiping money. It like doesn't fill the empty space at all. It doesn't, Larry Fink is a miserable person in real life despite having billions of dollars. And of course, personally, and I do too, a lot of deeply unhappy billionaires, way more unhappy than the guy fixing your air conditioning. So there is like, it's a theological principle that I think is worth saying out loud. Worshiping money, worshiping power, organizing your life so you get more of both does not give you peace or happiness. In fact, it seems to produce the opposite. People like Michelle Obama, who's drowning in Lake Me. I mean, Michelle Obama is literally going down for the third time into this pool of self-involvement. And you don't think she's going to come up again. Like she's dying of affluence, privilege, and self-obsession, obviously.
Everything she says is negative. We've been watching clips from her podcast over the past couple of weeks. Everything she says is negative. I mean, you would never know you are hearing from a woman who is first lady for 8 years, has become probably a billionaire by this point, is out on David Geffen's yacht every other summer, her estate in Martha's Vineyard, her daughters who went to these Tony schools. You would think you were listening to somebody basically like
for right now.
I don't know if I can say this is double standard or hypocrisy or what exactly. Michelle knows fully well that Barack Obama broke the record, like deporting about, I think, 3 million people. No president has ever done that. Michelle Obama did not see that as a problem because it is Trump. Michelle Obama is unable to sleep at night. And she is really worried about the people of color. You can see. Sometimes when I watch this lady, last week I reported a lot of videos concerning her first 100 days, though people like this are still struggling to criticize that. Jon Stewart had a segment, he said some ridiculous things about first 100 days. I looked at it, I had to laugh all through. Now looking at this lady, Megyn Kelly, for a very long time, she is a good critic of Michelle Obama.
But yes, tomorrow is officially the 100th day of Donald Trump's first term, and you will be very pleased to hear it is going incredibly well. Suck it, Lincoln. Suck it, Roosevelt squared. Trump's first 100 days, the most successful in American history. It would be like if America landed on the moon.
And the thing about Michelle Obama is she's always negative. everything she says has got a negative spin on it. She's negative about the country. She's negative about her time as first lady. She's very negative about her husband. I fully believe that they have a bad marriage. She did not marry the right person. It's not a good match.
Also easily labeled as angry and bitter. And let me tell you some of the most hurtful stuff that I experienced, entering this life of public service at the heights that we entered into was during my husband's presidential campaign. Mm-hmm. And just me telling the truth of who we were, just humanizing him as a man, saying he's a great man, but he's not perfect. Mm-hmm. He's got his foibles and his flaws, trying to humanize him. The first thing that some female journalist said was that I was bitter. I was emasculating him just by sort of trying to tell the truth about what life is, right? And then you get labeled as angry, because you talk forcefully or passionately about something, even if it's in the context of great joy and pride, that the first label they put on us as Black women.
Okay, so first of all, the fact that this woman, with all of her riches and celebrity trappings, friends, and this time around, no one listened to them. They're as irrelevant as J-Lo.
False rumors since they've been in the public eye.
Her fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce.
As women, I think we struggle with disappointing people.
Yeah.
The 26-year-old, she's an empty nesting. She's thinking about Michelle Obama right now.
There are some people who usually complain, oh, I don't understand you. Please get used to the way I speak. If you meet me on the street, this is how I speak. Nothing will change. But I'm struggling to improve on my English language because that is not actually my first language.
Don't think that, honestly, policy is what we need to be fighting.
Member of Congress right now.
Even Michelle Obama.
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense because if you are afraid the day before, well, you have to
compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor. Was it
followers for anything? And then the
Registration Act is.
Thank you guys who is with sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly.
We start talking about this man, These are the